Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So before we get started, remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see that every time that I post. If you like the content, give this video a thumbs up, and anything you would like to add, feel free to do so down below in the comment section. So we're back for episode 2 of The Society. Now episode 1, real quick, teenagers left out their town, came back, no one is there. I'm telling y'all, they're in a simulation. We gotta figure out what the heck is going on. So it's been 10 days now, and they're running around there. Most of them are running around there like it's a free-for-all. You got Will running around here, looking in people's homes, taking things that he think he can keep since, you know, the adults aren't coming back. You've got some of them who are just living it up, partying every night. You know, of course, over at Harry's house, honey, they just be doing whatever, however, whenever. I seen some, they're like sending out SOS balloons, like, we're here, come save us, come find us. Now, Allie and Cassie are walking down the street, and they walk up on this delusional girl, honey. She's sitting at the bus stop where the buses drop them off, and she's like, oh, today is the day that we should have, you know, originally come back from the trip, and I think our parents are coming. And they're kind of looking at her like, girl, you crazy? Our parents are not showing up today. But she's like, oh, I'm gonna sit here and wait. Mind y'all, go ahead, this whole episode, baby girl never moved off that bench to the very end. I was like, girl, after like 2-3 hours, you should have been like, oh, they not coming. They not coming, sis. They not coming. So some have actually started like praying to God. They're out on the lawn, and they're like, well, they've got rocks stacked up. I didn't know what was really going on, but they were out there praying like, shit, what's the sign? What have we done wrong? You know, a lot of people are out there, you know, just really just hanging out while they're doing this. And so in the process of this, an eclipse happened, and I was just like, they was looking up, I was like, it's an eclipse, like, y'all ain't never seen no eclipse before. And so Gordy said the same thing. Gordy was like, oh, it's not a sign, it's just an eclipse. Like, no, that explains that, like, it's not a big deal, like, y'all didn't like make that happen, because they was looking up like, oh, it's a sign, it's a sign. I was like, ooh, child, y'all really think y'all out here controlling the weather, huh? So like I said, Will is running around here taking everything that doesn't belong to him. And so he's at Cassie's house, right? And so he's not trying to hear nothing Cassie is saying to him about, you know, proving Harry right about him being, you know, poor and all of this stuff. Will was like, I'm gonna do what I want. Like, people not coming back. I found me a house, so I'm gonna go stay in it. And I think he had on somebody else's tennis shoes. I was like, bruh, really? Side note, I forgot to say this in the first episode, but I love the fact that it's inclusive. So everybody, from what I can tell, speaks sign language. For Sam, who is the deaf guy, who I didn't know his name to begin with, but I know it now. So it's inclusive, and everybody can speak sign language. I was like, oh, that's a good thing. But, you know, tin hat tingling, I was like, oh, maybe they set up to make sure that all the kids could speak sign language so they could all talk when, you know, they got shipped over here to wherever they got shipped to. Team Cassie, which is what I'm gonna call them, they've decided that they need to start taking inventory of their food and stuff, you know, for everyone that's there, so they know that how much they have, so that really and truly they can start rationing out food, so they don't run through it sooner than really they should. And so Will volunteers. Will's like, oh, I'll do it. And as soon as he volunteered, y'all know Allie jumped on board, honey. She was like, oh, I'll do it, I'll help you, we can do it together. I was like, girl, I seen the way you looked at that boy. And Cassie's like, y'all just need to make sure when y'all do it, like, make sure nobody thinks that this is coming back to me. She's like, because, you know, if it comes back to me, then, you know, people don't really, they're not gonna be on board about, you know, we should be rationing out our food, especially Harry, honey, and his hating behind. So apparently Luke has been visiting Emily's grave since she died. Remember the girl that got bit out in the forest in the first episode? He's been visiting her grave ever since she died. But I'm trying to figure out, Luke was out there being real, I don't even know what to say. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Real chummy with Emily out in the forest, right? But the way this scene is set up, he out here dating Helena, and they all kissy whatnot. But I was like, but sir, you was out there in the woods though, keying it up with Emily though, so make it make sense. So Helena is basically telling Luke, she's like, people need something to look to. I'm going to be giving a sermon at the church. Like, you should have the guys who they're calling themselves the guards. You should have them come and hear the sermon. And he's like, I'll talk to them, and if I can get them to come, then I'll get them to come. She's like, okay. Now, while Helena is going to be reading up on the Bible and giving a sermon, you know, kind of looking for her answers through her faith and through God, Team Cassie is actually going to be going to, I can't remember where exactly they're going, but I know they ended up in Sam's dad's office, but they're going to be researching like the cold hard facts that they have around the town and stuff, like all the archives. So I think it's just the duality of it, of how like when there's nothing left, like what do you fall back on? Like some people are going to fall back on their faith, and some people are going to fall back on more of the like how would you say, like scientific answers of like what's going on. And so I thought I was like, okay, I caught it. Mr. Harry the sleazeball, he's not the only one, but we're gonna talk about the other one, honey. He's out here trying his best to dig his claws into Kelly. He's asking Kelly, where were you at last night? You know, he keeps, this whole episode, he's talking about they playing a game of Fugitive, and we gonna get to that. But he keeps talking about, we're playing a game of Fugitive tonight. Are you coming? You can be my partner. And Kelly is really like, no, I'm not seeing it for you. I don't want to come over there. I don't want to be nowhere near you. And so he got the nerve to talk about some, I want to apologize for saying that I didn't belong to you. I do belong to you. I was like, oh, you want to apologize now, huh? And he was like, this whole time, like, we've been together, like, we've always wanted privacy and a room to ourselves or a house to ourselves. And Kelly was like, well, you SOL now, because I don't even want nothing to do with you. So we got what we wanted, and I don't even see it for you now. So he was looking all ego, all hurt, right? And he says, you know, you left the church with me, and I told y'all she didn't want to leave with him. She was like, I left with you because I like the idea of being able to keep my belongings. She's like, but I don't even know, like I said, when Harry was talking about that gold, she was like, I don't even know if that means anything anymore. And it doesn't. It doesn't mean anything. He's basically out here really and truly like begging her to want him, but Kelly not seeing it for him. I was like, Harry, you need to move right on along, honey. And I need Kelly to put some bass in her voice, honey, because I'm sick and tired of her doing the Elle. Elle, I'm not sure if Elle is the really snooty girl who's like been stuck up, like before all this happened, like she was really stuck up and nobody liked her, or if she's like the awkward girl and nobody liked her, because we saw her room and like she was clearly a ballet dancer. So she goes, she fixes herself up, and she goes over to some girl's house, and she knocks on the door, and she's like, oh, I was looking for some company. And the girl tells her like real snotty, like she's like, oh, we're busy or whatever. And Elle's like, oh, well, what are y'all doing? She's like, I told you we're busy. And I was like, well, dang. So she's like, how about you go try one of your friends' houses? And I'm like, dang bad. If she had friends, don't you think she would have went there first? She said she was looking for some company. That meant she came to you because she thought she was gonna be, really? That meant she came to you because she thought she was gonna be able to find it with you. Like, what? So I'm like, okay, I feel a little bad for Elle, because Elle is like an outcast right now, but I'm still trying to figure out, like, what was Elle like before all of this happened? Okay, so Allie and Will go to count an inventory, right? And they go to the grocery store. As soon as they get there, Will's like, he's just talking about like, oh, we've got to count this, we've got to count this, we got to count this. He's like, you know what I think we should do? And Allie's like, split up. So he's gonna count there at the grocery store, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna go start at like a pharmacy or something down the street, whatever, right? So I was like, from what I had seen before, I thought Will was about to go in here and like get him a little stash, honey, and like put it off to the side and be like, this is some little extra for me, like, so when y'all run out, I got like maybe a day or two extra past that. That's what I thought Will was about to do. Sam and I don't know if I remember, but it was the girl from the first episode that Sam was talking to, and he asked her why she never, you know, participates. She's always looking on. I don't know her name. When I figure it out, I'll tell y'all what it is. So they go, they're the ones doing the the research. And so they're in Sam's dad's office. Remember, Sam and Campbell are brothers, so they're in their dad's office. And they're looking through pictures and files and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, Miss Thing, some she don't feel good. And I was like, so she left and she was walking. And I was like, Miss Thing is pregnant. Like, it just hit me just like that. Y'all know my intuition is amazing. I was like, Miss Thing is pregnant. Right after I thought she is pregnant, what did she do? She threw up behind a bush. I was like, yep, called it. She's pregnant. She's pregnant. So she walked on home, honey, looking all weak and sick. I was like, girl, better go get your test, honey. And then I'm trying to figure out, like, who the baby daddy? Like, who did you sleep with? And watch it be Campbell, because I just feel like it would be some, you know, some drama wrapped up just like that. Is honey. Back at that house with the girls where Elle went to, they were in there talking. They were playing a game of, kill, marry, or date. And, you know, they're just talking about, you know, the guys, of course, that are in the town. And so one of the girls realizes, like, eventually, like, if this doesn't, like, end, we're going to end up marrying these couple of guys that we're left with, right? And all the girls are kind of looking sad, like, well, dang, like, this is the pick of the litter that we got. Like, this is all that we have. On the opposite side of that, out on the football field, the guard, which is Luke and Grizz and Clark and all of them, you know, all the boys that went out hiking to see what they could find in the first episode, they're out on the football field having a good old time drinking like it ain't nothing. And what I realized was, because they were out there reliving their glory days of playing football, and I was like, that is over and done with. That, like, if this is an end, like, your glory days are over with. But they were out there trying to relive their glory days from when they won such and such game. And I was like, that applies to real life, how most of the time men are trying to hang on to whatever little bit of youth that they can hold on to, while women, you mostly have them looking towards their future, trying to build, trying to, you know, prepare for what's coming. I was like, Lord Jesus, look at here. Now, back at the church, Helena, she's giving her speech. She's trying to give, you know, some hope to everybody. And she's like, excuse me, y'all, some stuff flying around. She's just, you know, trying to give everybody some hope and faith, like, you know, look to God. This too shall pass. We're going to make it through. We're going to be okay. We're going to figure out what's going on. Now, while she's giving this and this sermon, I think one or two people walked out, and that's only because she was, I mean, even though she was giving this sermon, she was being real, like, we don't know when this is gonna end. And so, you know, like, sometimes people don't want to hear the real. They want you to just, you know, butter everything up and make it sound real good. But, you know, we don't know, like, when this is gonna end. So a few people walked out, and then Cassie was in the back as well. She snuck in for a second. She was listening to the sermon as well, and she was kind of getting the realization too that, like, you know, we don't know what's going on. So she was leaving. Luke did get the guard to come and listen to the sermon, but in the process of Cassie leaving, here comes Campbell. I don't know who I dislike more between Harry and Campbell. Harry is rich and stuck up and entitled. And then Campbell is just really he makes my skin crawl. Like, I do not like Campbell. So I'm just like, he just makes my skin crawl. So he's talking to Cassie, and he's like, oh, you know, rules have got to be set around here. But who's gonna be in charge of, you know, setting the rules? I was like, look at you trying to be a little dictator, a little tyrant already. I was like, you got your eyes set on setting those rules, huh? And so he asks Cassie, he's like, is Sam still staying, you know, at the house with you and Alan? She's like, yeah, he's still there. He's like, oh, look at you guys, the cousins together. I'm like, you are really holding on to the fact that, like, I don't know if he was like the outcast of the family, but honey, the way he be acting, I would have been like, he would have been a good old ostracized for me too, honey. Get. But he was like, oh, look at y'all, all family, all that together. I was like, well, if you would act like a decent human being, they might invite you over to come and hang out and chill or whatever. But you can't seem to muster up any type of, human decency in order to be invited anywhere. That's why you're ostracized, okay? Kelly takes her soft-spoken behind over there to the grocery store, and she finds Will there. I think she just went, but that's where she... No. Will texted her the night before, so they say, and then she showed up at the grocery store, and he was like, I texted you last night. So she's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm taking inventory, so, it's better that we know now, basically, so we can... So she put two and two together. She's like, oh, you guys are gonna, like, ration out food. He was like, yeah, so, we don't run out sooner than later. So she's like, okay, I'll help you. And I was like, here we go, because it's about to be some mess. As soon as she said, I'll help you, I was like, Allie is going to have a fit when she finds out that y'all is over here working together. Now, over at like a pharmacy, I think, where Allie is doing her counting, she's over there putting up with some BS from some boy who came in there, grabbed an armload of stuff, and she was like, are you even gonna eat all that? He told him, I don't know. If you not gonna eat it all, she's like, put some of it back. So he put it back or whatever. And so, then hopping back once again, Allie's finished. She goes back to that grocery store, and she was peeking around a corner, honey, and who did she see? She seen Will and Kelly counting inventory. I was like, oh, I know she mad, honey. So she was looking all hurt in the face. So she leaves. She's on her way home. Once again, like I said, old girl is still sitting on that bench. She ain't moved yet. She's still waiting on her parents. So Cass is looking at her like, okay. Now, Allie was looking at her like, all right, girl. So Allie happens upon Harry, who is at the gas station putting gas in his car. Where you going, Harry? Where are you going, sir? Why are you putting gas in your car? Where are you going? Anyways, Allie couldn't wait. She couldn't wait, y'all. She couldn't wait. She told Harry, she said she at the grocery store. Harry said who? She said, you know who? Sis that you like. So basically, Harry had invited he had invited Allie to come play this game of Fugitive. He keeps talking about this freaking game of Fugitive. He's like, it's gonna be the best yet. It's gonna be the best yet. It's gonna be the best game ever. He was like, you can come and you can bring Cassie. And she was like, you don't see it from my sister, so stop playing. You do not want me to bring her. He was like, oh, you can be my partner. And then I was like, not y'all in here. Stop. And I was like, oh, not y'all in here flirting, honey. And so when she told him that they were together, I was like, okay, you said that out of spite. And then they both gonna tell them they don't care that they're together. I was like, y'all are both lying. Harry goes running over to the grocery store. I thought you said you didn't care. Isn't that what you just told Allie, that you didn't care? So he goes running in there, honey. And so he went in there and he was like, oh, what are you doing? They're like, oh, we're just counting inventory, right? And so Will was like, help us. Like, we can get more done if it's three of us, on some friendship type stuff, right? And so Harry's like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. And basically here he is again begging for Kelly's attention. I'm like, child, you got to get your life together. Like, he's like, Kelly, come with me. We're playing Fugitive. Are you coming? Kelly's like, no, I'm still not coming to play Fugitive. And so he had said something about like, oh, this was Cassie's idea. So Kelly was like, no, it was me. So, he kind of dropped it and let it go or whatever. So he was like, well, Fugitive, still, if you want to come, we'll wait on you, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, you were still in here vying for this. If she has told you, I think twice already, that she don't want you, let it go. Let it go. Oh, side note, y'all, Kelly had told Will Thompson he could have asked her before she started counting inventory with him. He could have asked her for help. I was like, when you left the church with Harry, is that when he could have asked you for help? And then gonna tell some, I don't change. In 10 days, sis. You changed intent. Get out my face. Get out my face. Because you're playing in my face and you're playing in wheels. Get out my face. Now, at home, Gordy is still walking around here trying to be Doc McStuffins. I was like, sir, let it go. But he told me he been reading books, this, that, and the third. I was like, you not finna be nobody's doctor. So, he leaves. And Allie kind of calls Cassie out, you know, and just kind of like using Gordy since she knows that Gordy likes her. And so she's like, oh, you need to tell him that, like, you were going off to Yale and that, you know, basically there was somebody else, right? So, we wind up with Cassie and Gordy at the doctor's office, I guess her doctor. So he's going through her file, looking at her stuff, right? And so he calls out the name of one of her medicines. She's like, oh, that's the pill, right? And he looked shook and distraught then when she said it was the pill, because, you know, like, oh, if you on the pill, you're having sex, but you're not having sex with me, so who are you having sex with? And so she was telling him then, like, oh, Gordy, you know you don't have to do this or whatever. And he was like, yes, I do. Y'all, this is what he said. And I was like, red flag, red flag, red flag, flag on the play, flag on the field. Get away from this boy. She said, you don't have to save me. He said, yes, I do. I have to save you so you can save everybody, but mostly me. Let me tell you, Gordy got the characteristics of every episode of every ID channel, Law and Order, Criminal, every episode that we have all ever seen of boy likes girl, girl does not like boy back, so boy turns into a serial killer and starts killing women that looks like said girl that did not want him. Gordy got all them characteristics. I was like, girl, if you don't see these flags, he about to kill you and every other blonde girl in town. All y'all about to be dead. Now, y'all, get this. So, Campbell found Gordy in their dad's office, right? He's like, oh, what are you doing here? Sam's like, look what I found. He's like, there was a letter there was a letter of somebody demanding like $1 million and something to come and like get rid of the smell. Well, here's dad replying, said, no, they're not going to do that. He was like, this is the day before we all left on the school bus. And I was like, oh, what if y'all was like collateral or something? Right? Campbell tells him, you need to, which, even though I don't like Campbell, I was like, I understand. He was like, you need to get rid of this evidence because things are already going to get bad around here anyways, because of course, you know, they're going to start running out of things. He's like, but they will get bad even faster if you tell people that our family had something to do with the reason why we're here stuck in whatever this is. So he was like, you need to get rid of this. So, of course, he bullies Sam into giving him the paperwork, honey. And so he tears it up, right? But I was like, Sam gonna find something else and tell it. He gonna tell it anyway, so it don't really matter. But we're gonna see how long it is before he tell it. So, like I said, Miss Puke behind a bush went and got a pregnancy test. I was like, girl, you pregnant. She pregnant, y'all. She pregnant. Yeah. Finally made it to this infamous game of the fugitive. This, I didn't know what it was, right? So I'm waiting to see, what is this? Trigger. That's what it was. Old buddy pulled up in a cop car, and then Harry explains to us that this is really a game of tag, which is what they could have just played, but no, they decided to call it fugitive, and you got half of the group is fugitives, other half is cops. The fugitives are running. They've set up a place for jail, and they've set up the church is like the safe haven, like you won't go to jail, right? I was like, y'all couldn't just play tag. This is what y'all want to do. Elle is there. Elle and Grizz talk for a second. I was like, oh, I could see this. Like, they would be cute together. He's telling her, like, oh, you know, you should get out there, put yourself out there, come play the game, yada, yada, yada. She's like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do that. Well, she ends up playing the game anyways, right? This game starts, and it is hysteria everywhere. You got these people running down the street, being chased down by cop cars, and I was like, what is this? I was like, I watched this show at the wrong time. I should have just went on about my life. I watched this at the wrong time. I was like, oh my God. But we're about to get something that's even more triggering to me, and I almost didn't make it through the episode, even though it was like the last 10 minutes. Okay. They're running through town. They're having a good time, right? Now, Miss Elle gets caught by Campbell, right? He's like, oh, I'm gonna take you. She's like, oh, you know, take me to jail. She thinks she's playing the game, right? He's like, no, I can take you somewhere better. I was like, oh, Jesus, no. Then you've got Cassie in the car with Harry. She's having a good old time. And then they see somebody who's a fugitive. She gets out and gets hit by the freaking cop car. She gets hit by the cop car, and then she gets up laughing. And I'm like, do you not realize there are no doctors in this town? So had all your little bones been broken, you would have been laid out dead somewhere. Now, Juno found Sam. She asked him what he found. Sam lied. Sam was like, oh, I didn't find anything. I was like, ooh, child. Like, go ahead and tell the truth and stop playing. But we gonna see how many episodes it take before Sam tell the truth, right? So, back at Cassie's house, she's there with Gordy by herself. Well, she don't need to be nowhere by herself with that one, honey, because he gonna, ooh, child, she gonna be like dead. Y'all sitting at... He came out of nowhere, and here's red flag number 5,000. He said, Cassie, are you sleeping with somebody? I said, girl, get out the house now. Get out the house, come down, because if you say yes, girl, he gonna kill you. He gonna kill you. So she just basically like glazed over it. Like, yes, I was, but I'm not now, because we're stuck here in this place, right? And so he asked her, he was like, are you in love with that person? She's like, no, I don't think I was in love with him. Now, to him, this is what he heard. He heard, I'm not in love with whoever this guy is that I might have been potentially seeing. So you still got a chance. That's what he heard. So he perked up real quick. I was like, this one here, he gonna be a problem later on. Like, he looking real cute now, and I'm gonna help you because you got a condition. I'm telling you now, he gonna be a problem. He's gonna be a problem. Back at the grocery store, Will has cooked a meal for Kelly, and they're being cute or whatever, right? Now, Will goes to kiss Kelly, and even though for me Kelly has no bass in her voice, that's why I be adding to what she be saying, because it's not really what she be saying, but it, you know. She told Will, she was like, oh, you can't, he goes in for the kiss. She's like, oh, you can't kiss me without asking. I was like, oh yes, sis knows, you know, consent, sir. You can't just be taking things just. And so she asked him straight up. I was like, okay, look at Kelly with a little backbone. She was like, I hope you didn't just, you know, cook me this meal and ask me to help you, yada yada yada, because you thought you was gonna get some kissy face. He was like, oh no, that's not why I did it. She's like, okay, good. Now on the other side of that, you got after this game of fugitive, you got Harry over here and Allie. They were flirting, and Harry just went in for the kiss, just took it. As soon as he went in for the kiss, Allie was ready to give it all away, honey. She was ready to put the legs in the... She was ready to put her legs up in the air, honey. She was ready to do something strange for a little change. She was ready to get her back blew out. She was ready. Now, staying with Allie and Harry for just a second, y'all. After she got her back blew out, honey, Harry was laying there all blissful, and she was... She said, that was it. I said, ooh. Dang, Harry. That's why Kelly don't want you, because it ain't no good. That's why Kelly said she through with you, because you're not blowing backside like you need to. I was like, dang. After they do that, you know, they go back downstairs or whatever, you know, in the house. Everybody's at Carrie's house. The lights flicker. And so they're like, you know, we should probably get some flashlights and stuff. Then the lights go off completely, and so everybody's freaking out. I'm like, Harry's like, oh, you guys can stay here, and then the lights come back on, and everybody's like, no, we're gonna go ahead home, bruh. But you know, some people are like, oh, we should go get flashlights, right? Hold that thought. Now, okay, this is what I'm gonna apologize now, because I don't know where my emotions are about to go. Okay, because I was a mess trying to watch this, because as soon as I can feel it, as soon as I seen it, I had to like pause it, because like I have some past trauma. Okay, now Elle is at Campbell's house, right? And they're drinking, and he's having her watch porn, and he's like, oh, this isn't turning you on. I was like, what, sir? What, sir? No. Elle's like, nah, bruh. Elle's like, I'm finna go. I wish Elle would have just left, but she didn't. She stopped. She's like, why did you pick me? I was like, what is going on here, right? he was like, oh, I like you. And I was like, look, all of this to me, watching this scene, I was like, this is manipulation at its finest, right? So they sit on the floor. He was like, stay, don't leave. I won't touch you. I'm like, okay, I don't know if I believe him, but all right. He's like, they're going to play this game. And it's basically a game, as Simon says. Like, he's going to tell her to do something. And like, immediately I was like, girl, he gonna try to play strip poker, basically. And she caught on to it. She was like, I know this is about to go. He was like, well, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. We'll stop it. I was like, what is going on? Oh, before this, he also pulled out some coke. They might have snorted a line or two. I'm not really sure. Anyways, they're sitting on the floor together. He tells her to touch her nose. Then she tells him to do something. I think touches him. Then he's like, touch your boobs. I was like, all right, sir, because this is getting out of hand. So she was like, okay, I'm done with this game. Oh my God. He says to her, you're safe. I was like, that's a freaking lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's manipulation. It's a lie. He's like, you're safe. I'll keep you safe. Yada, yada, yada. I was like, girl, get the F up out of that house with that boy. Leave now before he takes what he wants and get out of the freaking house, right? This goes into him telling her that she needs him. I was like, oh my God. Mind you, a second ago, he had told her that he liked to watch her. I was like, okay, red flag thrown out right there. But they sit there and they masturbate to each other, honey, looking in each other's eyes. I was like, this, y'all, it's just a scene set up for me. I almost lost my mind. I'm about to lose my mind now, really, but I'm trying not to. But between Will, Harry, and Campbell, you see the progression. Will asked for consent. Harry did not. And Campbell is on the verge of just taking what he freaking wants. Do you see how that progressed? How you see the different stages? Now, I would like for everybody to be in the same area as Will, but unfortunately we have people like Campbell. Harry's a toss-up, But, anyways, let me get off that. People went and broke into one of the shops for flashlights. And that got ugly real quick because there are only so many flashlights. It turned into a fight. Somebody set somebody's car on fire. Now they're out there looking crazy, looking hysteria, looking like just mass chaos and panic, right? And you've got Cassie, Kelly, Will, maybe Gordy, I'm not sure. And then up ran Allie and Harry, and Cassie kept giving them a side eye like, what y'all two doing together? But they were onlooking as they just watched people lose their freaking minds. And I was like, that looked familiar. That looked like, the virus. But I'm gonna leave that where it's at. But I was like, oh, this is about to get out of hand because you're not gonna be able to tell people what to do. Like, people about to be doing whatever. And so that's the end of this episode. I did not like the ending, of course, like I said, because it was very triggering for me. And sis finally got up off she finally got up off that park bench when she realized like mommy and daddy weren't coming. And you guys, all of this recap that I just gave you was just from that morning to that night. Like, that was one day's worth of stuff. Like, so yeah. I can't wait to see what happens in the next episode. I wonder if Allie and Harry are gonna start playing in Will and Kelly's face. I want to see if that's going to happen. I'm telling you now, Cassie needs to watch out for Gordy because he's going to be another problem. Look up there. I didn't even put two and two together. Gordy is in this little group with the other boys. Look, okay, Campbell out here think he just going to take what he want. And then you got Gordy out here, honey. Gordy is probably the next stage after Campbell. Like, Campbell is just gonna take it, and then Gordy is the one, he not gonna take it, he gonna kill you. So like, you see how that just, how these are different stages of like how women could be like set up to be in danger. You see how quickly they went from A to Z between these 4 boys. Like, you see how that goes. Oh, child. Anyways, y'all, I will see y'all in the next one. I love you guys. Bye.